This episode starts out with Twilight going into town, which seems eerily abandoned. Neither Twilight nor Spike know what's going on, until Pinkie calls them into Sugar Cube Corner. We find out that she, the other main six, and Applejack's sister Applebloom are hiding from her. They identify her as Zecora, and are all deathly afraid of her because she lives in the Everfree Forest, and looks different. No, I don't know how they know her name. Wait, they're not really going to do a racism episode, are they? Well, if anyone can do it, it's you. Every pony starts spouting rumors about Zecora, which Twilight finds utterly ridiculous. Twilight identifies Zecora as a zebra. One of the reasons that they're afraid of Zecora is because she lives in the Everfree Forest, and I actually kinda don't blame them, since the last thing to come out of the forest was this. And Zecora does literally nothing but look menacing and poke the ground with her hoof. Then Pinkie sings a song that lacks something called melody. Let me just say that this episode is lucky that songs don't count towards my final ranking of the episode. Twilight dispels all of the rumors about Zecora as completely ridiculous. The only pony to actually side with Twilight is Applebloom, who nobody listens to because she's just a little kid. Twilight then suggests that if any pony were brave enough to approach Zecora, they would find out the truth. And Applebloom, like your typical kid character, decides that she is brave enough to talk with a stranger that even the adults are afraid of. Do you see the problem with this scene? So Applebloom follows along after Zecora. It isn't until later that the adults, too caught up in their arguing, notice that Applebloom is gone. When they find this out, they decide to chase after Zecora, who is on her way back into the Everfree Forest. Applebloom is about to enter the forest. Wait a minute, Applebloom, I know you're just a kid, but you've got to know that that place is dangerous. Do you remember the last thing that came out of there? The adults catch up to Applebloom when she gets to a patch of blue flowers. Finally, Zecora decides to speak for the first time.
Beware, beware, you pony folk. Those leaves of blue are not a joke.
In rhyme. No, I don't know why. It's just her thing, okay? She sort of warns them about the blue flowers that surround them, because they are not going to be important in any way whatsoever. The main six start talking about how Zecora is evil, while Twilight continues to try to dispel the rumors. All the while, we hear squishy noises that have absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the episode. Nothing at all. That night, Twilight has nightmares and wakes up all sweaty. She soon realizes that her horn has gone all floppy. And yes, it does remind me of something. Moving on, Spike suggests that it's a curse, but Twilight firmly believes that there are no such thing as curses. Spike also suggests a book entitled Supernaturals, but Twilight doesn't even want to look in it because of the title. Subtle. Really subtle. The other main six come in and are apparently cursed as well. Pinkie has a swollen tongue because Fate is as annoyed as I was with her in this episode. Rainbow's wings are inverted, causing her to crash into things more than usual. Rarity's hair becomes all frizzy. Applejack is now the size of a mouse, and Fluttershy...
Good gravy, girl. What's wrong with you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Most of this episode's humor comes from the curses, and yes, they are kinda funny. The main six believe that Zecora cursed them, except for Twilight, who still doesn't believe in curses. Applebloom realizes the error of her ways and leaves, believing that she can get Zecora to fix the main six's problems. Applejack, with her newfound size, decides to tag along to stop Applebloom from getting into trouble. Meanwhile, the other main six think that they sat on Applejack, but realize that Applebloom is also gone and decide to chase after her into the Everfree Forest. Applebloom makes it into the Everfree Forest when Applejack makes herself known, and tries to get Applebloom to turn around. Applebloom decides that she doesn't have to listen to Applejack, and leaves her on a tree branch in the middle of the Everfree Forest. Then she runs away. Stop. Just stop. Applejack. Applejack, the pony who nobody had seen in a week, when they were preparing a party in her honor, is now the size of a mouse, and you leave her in the middle of a predator-filled forest. And you don't even mark where you left her? There's childish mischief, and then there's just evil. You left Applejack for dead. Luckily, and I do mean luckily, Rainbow crashes into Applejack on her way to Zecora's. The other main six get to Zecora's first, and see that her house is filled with strange decor. And she's making some weird potion while chanting what seems to be an incantation. Wow, you're really, really subtle in this episode. Then Fluttershy sings the song from earlier, and yes, it is really funny.
She's an evil enchantress, and she does evil dances. And if you look deep in her eyes, she will put you in trances. Then what would she do? She'll mix up an evil brew. Then she'll gobble you up in a big tasty stew.
All of this convinces Twilight that Zecora just might be bad, but she still has hope. Then Zecora mentions Applebloom, and Twilight loses all credibility in this episode. Rainbow and Applejack crash into Zecora's house and start breaking everything, getting Zecora rather upset. The other main six barge in and use this opportunity to confront Zecora. Zecora is understandably angry because Applebloom comes in and she is completely unharmed. We learn that the curses of the main six were caused by those blue flowers from earlier. They're called Poison Joke, and they're pretty much a wild card for fanfiction writers. The cure for it is an herbal bath, found in a book called Supernaturals. The moral at the end is that you should never judge a book by its cover. And this episode fails. No, I'm not kidding. I could fail it for Apple Bloom leaving Applejack for dead alone, but for curiosity's sake, let's see exactly what they did wrong. They broke one of the most sacred rules in fiction writing: show, don't tell, especially in children's entertainment. The rumors about Zecora are only dispelled by Twilight claiming that they are ridiculous, but she loses all credibility at the end by being convinced that Zecora is all she's cracked up to be. If Zecora had been kind to Apple Bloom when she snuck away for the first time, then this episode would have worked so much better. Yes, I am being harsh, but when it comes to a moral like this, you cannot screw up. Join us next time when My Little Pony tackles HIV.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees.